Google has officially announced the much-rumored latest Nexus 5X and Nexus 6P smartphones, both of which debut the new Android 6.0 Marshmallow software. The speculation surrounding the smartphones has been plentiful over the last few months, leaving the event with few surprises. We have rounded up everything you need to know about the Nexus 5X as well as the Nexus 6P, but here we are comparing the two. Nexus 5X vs Nexus 6P designs. The Nexus 5X is made by LG, while the Nexus 6P is in the hands of Huawei. The Nexus 5X is plastic, while the Nexus 6P is metal, delivering a more premium look than its smaller brother. Both come in 3 colors but they aren't the same. The Nexus 5X will be available in carbon black, quartz white and ice blue, while the Nexus 6P comes in aluminium, frost white, and graphite. In terms of dimensions, the Nexus 5X measures 147 x 72.6 x 7.9 mm and the Nexus 6P measures 159.3 x 77.8 x 7.3 mm. The Nexus 5X is significantly lighter than the Nexus 6P, hitting the scales at 138 grams compared to 178 grams, but the larger device is slimmer even if its overall footprint is bigger. A fingerprint scanner called Nexus Imprint and USB Type-C are featured on both devices. Nexus 5X vs Nexus 6P displays. The Nexus 5X comes with a 5.2-inch Full HD display, meaning a pixel density of 423 ppi. As we mentioned, the Nexus 6P is the larger of the two devices and comes with a 5.7-inch display and a Quad HD resolution, which puts its pixel density at 515 ppi. This means that the Nexus 6P offers a sharper and crisper display compared to the Nexus 5X, as well as 0.5 inches more screen. Nexus 5X vs Nexus 6P cameras. Both the Nexus 5X and the Nexus 6P feature a 12.3 megapixel rear camera with a f/2.0 aperture, IR laser-assisted autofocus and a dual flash. They also both sport larger pixels that Google claims will read more light and perform better in low-light situations. Despite the rear cameras being the same, however, the Nexus 6P wins the megapixel battle on the front-facing snapper. You'll find an 8-megapixel front-facing camera on the Nexus 6P and a 5-megapixel front-facing camera on the Nexus 5X. Nexus 5X vs Nexus 6P hardware. In terms of the hardware, both the Nexus 5X and the Nexus 6P are powered by Qualcomm, but the chips aren't the same. The Nexus 5X will have the hexa-core Snapdragon 808, Adreno 418 graphics and 2 GB of RAM. The Nexus 6P, on the other hand, comes with the octa-core Snapdragon 810 chip, Adreno 430 graphics and 3 GB of RAM. They are both likely to perform well, but the Nexus 6P will be a bit faster and handle tougher tasks a little better. The Nexus 5X will come with a 2700 mAh battery capacity, while the Nexus 6P has a 3540 mAh capacity, meaning the bigger handset is likely to have a little more life. In terms of storage, the Nexus 6P will be available in 32GB, 64GB, and 128GB models, with prices starting at $499. Storage options for the Nexus 5X are smaller at 16GB and 32GB, but the pricing is lower, starting at $379. Neither device has microSD, so the Nexus 6P is the option for those that need more storage. Nexus 5X vs Nexus 6P software. The software experience on the Nexus 5X and the Nexus 6P will be identical, with both debuting the new Android 6.0 Marshmallow. The new software incorporates various features from native support for fingerprint scanners to USB Type-C support and deep support for Android Pay. There will also be improved volume controls, with access to volumes from the rocker button again, along with smarter settings, such as alarm volume remaining on while the handset is set to silent. Additionally, a feature called peaking will allow you to control notifications for each app, turning off those appearances at the top of the page, or over the top of an app. Hardware permissions will also be accessible, so you can turn off location access for Facebook, for example, and now on tap supercharges Google Now, which should make interactions simpler. Overall though, this element of the two devices should be identical, so you won't see any difference between the Nexus 5X and the Nexus 6P in terms of software. Nexus 5X vs Nexus 6P conclusion. The Nexus 5X is smaller and much lighter than the Nexus 6P, but it thicker and offers a plastic build over the more premium looking metal of the Nexus 6P. You'll get a bigger and sharper display on the Nexus 6P, as well as more storage and a bigger battery capacity. That said, you will get the same software experience on both devices, and both feature the Nexus Imprint fingerprint sensor, USB Type-C for faster charging, and the same rear cameras, so you won't be compromising in a few areas. The decision will come down to which design you prefer, how big of a device you want, and how much you want to spend, as the Nexus 6P costs $70 than the Nexus 5X for the same storage capacity.